I have gone on record saying that I believe the Nintendo Switch is lining up to be one of, if not the single greatest video game system of all time. With so many amazing games already on the system like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey, it's hard to find fault with Nintendo right now. A few days ago, Nintendo had a Nintendo Direct conference in which they announced, to the surprise of everyone, Super Smash Bros. For the Switch. I'm personally a huge fan of Super Smash Bros., and with every new Smash Bros. Iteration comes speculation, and the most important speculation is who's gonna be in it. I'm Mr. SeaWorld, welcome to Gamer Fridge, and this is our top 5 characters we want in Smash Bros.
Maybach music.
Number 5.
Starting off our list at number 5 is a bit of an odd choice because this character has already been confirmed. And I'm not talking about the Inkling. No, the character I'm referring to is Breath of the Wild Link. In the reveal trailer, the only characters to be shown in their full glory besides the Inklings were Mario and Link, with Link having a noticeable difference in attire from his previous entries in the Smash Bros. Series. This time around, Link is modeled after his appearance in Breath of the Wild, the newest game in the Zelda series. This begs the question, is Link going to get a whole new moveset to compensate for the different abilities he has in Breath of the Wild? If you were to ask me, I would say the best choice to go would be yes and no. It would catch too many people off guard if you were to completely change up Link's moveset. But I think you could very easily add another version of Link into the game, similar to what they did with Toon Link. This way you could keep the original Link moveset in the game, while creating a whole new moveset for a brand new version of Link. The important thing to remember here is that this would not be a clone of Link like Toon Link is. The idea behind this is creating a whole new character based solely off of the ideas presented in Breath of the Wild. Imagine what Nintendo could do if they allowed themselves the freedom to escape from the preset Link moveset. They could have a counter move where Link jumps back and stabs their opponent with a flurry strike like he does in the games. They could create a whole new mechanic where Link pulls out a different weapon from his back, each weapon having its own strengths and weaknesses and things to think about when using them, and eventually those weapons would break and you would have to pull out a new one. This could be a fun way to mirror the gameplay seen in Breath of the Wild, that being working with what you have until you can find something better. Of course, with Smash Bros. Being a fighting game and adding a randomized element to a fighting game could be a little iffy, I still think it would be a fun idea to pursue and just play with and have fun beating people up with. Isn't that what Smash Bros. Is all about? And that's just what I can come up with. Nintendo is way more creative than I will ever be, so I think it's safe to say that this idea, well, may not be entirely plausible, would still be fun to play with. And I mean, it's not like Nintendo's been shy about adding Link characters to the game. We've already got Standard Link, Toon Link, and in Melee we had Young Link. So you know what, why not in this new Smash game just throw them all in there and add a fourth one? I don't know about you, but if Nintendo decided to go this route, I would be all for it.
Maybach music.
Number 4.
Coming in at number 4, we have the master of spade-based justice himself, Shovel Knight. Now let's get this out of the way right now. Shovel Knight is a third-party character. Obviously, him being a third-party character brings down his chances a little bit, but even then, I don't think it's that big of a problem. I mean, especially in recent times, Nintendo has been very open about including third-party characters in their game. As a matter of fact, almost all of the DLC for Smash 4 has been third-party characters, and those that weren't were returning veterans. That, coupled with the fact that Shovel Knight seems to have a better relationship with Nintendo than some of the other third-party characters that actually got into the game, I don't think it's a question of whether or not it can get in, it's a question of whether or not it will get in. And one of the many requirements that Sakurai has set for a third-party character getting into Smash Bros. Is that they have to have some sort of significant impact on the gaming world. And I think at this point, Shovel Knight is the poster child for indie games. The likes of Sonic and Mega Man have been staples of the video game world for ages now. There's no denying that they deserve to be in Smash Brothers, but Shovel Knight represents a whole new era in video games. The era of the indie developer. While games like Super Meat Boy have been very successful in the indie market, it has only been successful in the indie market, creating niche, hardcore audience that love their games, and I do too, but I understand that it's not for everyone. Shovel Knight proved something that we weren't sure could be done at the time. It was an indie game that is still having large mainstream success. That's huge. Not only has he managed to overcome such a monumental task, he's managed to do it, wait for it, in spades. Now, on to what he would actually do in the game. I'm gonna be honest with you, Shovel Knight was made to be in Smash Brothers. The entire time I was playing the game, all I could think about is, this would make a really sick moveset. The propeller dagger is practically begging to be made into a side B. His down air would easily be him dropping onto his opponent's head with his shovel, similar to Link's or Greninja. His neutral B could be his flare wand, and he could grab people with his fishing rod. Shovel Knight is almost designed to be in Smash. He fits in so well, I think it would be a travesty if he didn't get in.
Maybach music.
From one iconic third-party character to another one, at number 3, we have Crash Bandicoot. A proposition once thought to be nothing more than a fever dream. But with the recent Nintendo Direct announcing that the Insane Trilogy would be brought to the Nintendo Switch, hopes have been higher than ever for Crash to make his way to Super Smash Bros. I mean, can you imagine for a second a game that has Mega Man, Pac-Man, Mario, Sonic, and Crash Bandicoot? I mean, do I even need to go on? The hype alone is reason enough to put him in, but even then, he would make a very fun and wacky character to play as. Crash's neutral and side B could both be a spin, similar to how Sonic's moves are basically all spin dashes, but in this case, it wouldn't be because it's just simply easier to animate. This would allow him to do a spin, standing still, or going forward like he can do in his game, which I feel like is an important design element to add to Crash. His down B would pretty clearly be the belly flop, and his up B would probably be his jetpack he uses in Crash 2. And if Nintendo were willing to put in the work, which I'm sure they are, I mean, they are Nintendo after all, they could make Crash one of the most expressive characters in the game. Which I know may not sound like much, but come on! It's Smash Bros. Everyone loves an expressive character in Smash Bros. And Crash Bandicoot is the king of wacky. I mean, he could and should rival the likes of King Dedede in terms of sheer facial expressions alone. Not to mention, his taunts would be top of the line. I'm talking A tier. I mean, I'm expecting at least one whoa in there somewhere. It almost feels as if this was meant to be. I mean, one of the greatest mascots in gaming history being announced to be brought to the Switch in the same direct where one of the greatest, if not the single greatest, mascot fighting games is also brought to the Switch. I mean, if that's not written in the Tiki Masks, I don't know what is.
Maybach music.
Alright, hear me out on this one. It's become something of a tradition for Smash Bros. To have off-the-wall, out-of-nowhere characters that no one expects. And that got me thinking, what off-the-wall, out-of-nowhere characters do we have to work with? And I think I've found the perfect choice. For those who don't know, Captain N was an early 90s series that followed a character named Kevin, who's a kid who gets sucked into a video game world. And that's pretty much all you need to know. They go off and fight video game bad guys and hang out with Kid Icarus and Mega Man. It's great. It's 90s. It's what it needs to be. The point is, Captain N is a piece of Nintendo history. As a matter of fact, they had an entire lineup of different shows based on their IPs at the time, and I think it would be fun to have a character representing that time period. It's not like there's nothing here to work off to make a fully fledged character. There certainly is. I mean, the guy can freeze time. He can move in super speed, he has a super jump, and he has the Nintendo Blaster by his side. I mean, that alone can be used to make a moveset. And you could even incorporate some of the weird, ugly looking versions of Nintendo characters in the show and incorporate them into some of his moves. It would be great. Especially because one of the main people Captain N hung out with was Simon Belmont. And there's just a weird, twisted part of my mind that gets joy out of the fact that so many people have been clamoring for Simon Belmont to be in Smash. And then they finally get him in the game. And it's a weird, deformed version of Simon Belmont, and he's used as someone else's move. I mean, like, how good of a troll move would that be? I don't know if he could actually be in the game, if they would have to take him out, but how good of a troll move would that be? And even then, the other two main people Captain N hung out with was Mega Man and Kid Icarus, and they're already in the game, so who knows? If Captain N gets the game, maybe your dreams of Simon Belmont coming to Smash will come true. So, basically, the reason you should all agree with me right now is because a vote for Captain N is a vote for Simon Belmont. And that's a thing people want, I think. Yeah.
Maybach music.
Number 1.
And finally, coming in at number 1, we have ARMS. ARMS has been Nintendo's huge, big new IP that they've been trying to push since the start of the Switch, but obviously it hasn't gotten off the ground yet, seeing as, well, the game has a following, it's not as big as, say, Splatoon. Now, being in Smash Bros. Is one of the best advertisements out there, and if they were to put some ARMS characters in Smash Bros., I mean, we've seen plenty of times, most notably Fire Emblem, where they put a character into Smash Bros. And then their series skyrockets because of how good the character is. And the reason I put this at number 1 is because I believe this is the most likely of all the characters in my list to actually happen, because it's a Nintendo IP and they really want to push this. Of course, this begs the question, which character do you put in the game? Do you go with the mascot character of like Ribbon Girl or Springman, or like, I don't know, Twinella? She's pretty popular. And I say, why not all of them? Now, obviously, you can't put every single ARMS character in Smash Bros, otherwise it would really be a Fire Emblem story. But if you ask me, I don't think there's a single ARMS character in the game that has a deep enough move list to make into a move set for Smash Bros. They work fine in their own game, but I don't think it would work in this setting. So how do you fix that? Well, what I think we should do is take elements of each character and push them all into one singular moveset, and then set it up as a Bowser Jr. situation where the different outfits you can choose are all the different characters in the game. Of course, there's the problem of different size characters and different hitboxes, but I think you could make all the hitboxes the same size and still pass it off as the same character. I don't think that would be a problem of any sort. It might play and look a little bit weird, but it would work. And side note, if we were to choose a singular character to put in the game, I would choose Lollipop, but that's just because she's my favorite character to play as, and no big deal. But if you did decide to approach it the way I'm suggesting, where you take different elements from different characters, you could do things like having Bark from Bite and Bark shoot out a hand, similar to Duck Hunt's Down B, while you go off and do your own thing, and you can lead into some combos with that. You could have a move where it forces you to stay in place, but as you stay in place, you can slowly recover health like Master Mummy can do. You could also have a move where you turn into a giant balloon and smash down on the ground like Lollipop can do with her mid-air blocks. And I mean, I'm only scratching the surface. There's way more potential in each character that I have the time to touch on right now. And I think this idea would be the absolute best way to put an ARMS character, or, as we've discussed, multiple ARMS characters in Smash. Alright guys, that's going to be it for us today. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and let me know down in the comments. Did you like what I said? Am I a complete idiot? Just let me know. And if you liked what you see, and you want to see more, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon, and you'll be notified every time we upload a video. Yeah, I've been Mr. SeaWorld with Gamer Fridge, and I'll see you next time.